more about uh, the drama going on on YouTube about this, that, and the other thing. Because somebody has to go. Wait a second. Okay, somebody has to go. It's time to basically calm the hell down and start doing the right thing. Okay. And no, I did not send this. What is that? What is that? Hold on a minute. Okay, we're not going to do that. Okay, where? No. I want to share this out. Okay, here it is. All right, one thing. Share. So I'm back. All right, hi guys. Last night, after going out to dinner with my husband, I did a live show with King Dolphin TV. Hopefully he'll have it on soon. Not knowing the drama that was about to unfold. I have to say, first off, what happened doesn't surprise me concerning Gary. When you're not a professional, or at least attempt to be professional, at least do the ethical and right thing, you're going to make wrong calls. Not going to look up what's been posted recently on Mark Hamill's X account kind of shows you that it was lazy. It was knee-jerk reaction, going off on Mark without any whatever, and getting called out by the mom, Megan, for not telling the truth. Says a lot. And last night, I was watching Ethan Van Sciver's trash cast, and it covered that. Ethan reached out to the mom of Mark's granddaughter, and they basically, had a nice conversation. I sent her an apology today because I jumped down people's throats. I did. Okay, and I said that in my video, but I will, if I see someone who genuinely had concerns about the Disney sequel trilogy, even if I despise them, if I see them being bullied by a lefty, like a Pablo Hidalgo, jag off, I will go after that person. The reason simply is this. They don't get the right to bully us because we didn't like their stupid fucking sequel trilogy. They don't, okay? They'll turn around and be cry bullies, which is what they do. That's what I thought was going on. When I realized I was wrong, I apologized this morning, and I did a video. What I find funny is that when you go look at what people were saying, the people who are in the middle of it, they're taking credit for Mark. I guess it's been going on for a long time. This relationship with the kid, it's been going on for a long time. Gary and Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers think they're the ones that pushed this. They took it, they monetized it, and now they're the ones that forced it because they shamed him. The guy doesn't even know you two idiots exist, okay? Yet here we are. You had nothing to do with it. You don't know Mark Hamill from Adam's Off Ox. He probably realized it was the wrong thing to do. And, I could see him making an overture. Maybe he had conversations with friends. I don't know, like guys that he was in Star Wars with that have no problem showing up with their grandkids to places. This one guy, I think, I know. His son's a chef. You might have seen this guy in movies. All right, that guy. He'd say, why not, Mark, this is a granddaughter. The fuck? There you go. You want to be cool? Be cool like that, okay? You don't get to go on X, assume something, find out it was wrong, not make an apology, and then assume everyone's going to think you and your little friend clickbait it because you want people to think that you shamed Mark Hamill. What the fuck is that? Okay, second of all, we've got Ethan Van Sciver, little faggots running around, showing up and trolling. Star Wars is dead. Gary. No, it's not. Okay, stop going to that guy's channel and letting your mind be filled with shit. I feel like my mom getting all upset finding me watching MTV, the, late night metal stuff. Well, they both are immature hillbillies, and they attract immature. Look, the one I just, what do you mean I'm all right? Go fuck yourself. All right? I mean, seriously, dude, Weidman, go fuck yourself. Okay, fag. There. So then we get into Ethan talking about other drama. The problem that's going on is that we have a group of people who are so worried about being friends with people who are uncool, yellow flash, Gary, etc., that they have to go and attack people in private. Now, I don't know the gist of this, but I have heard plenty of stories that really don't surprise me if whatever was going on was going on. Oh God, why does that do that? And I can't turn it off. It'll be 10 seconds at least. Anyway, the problem that I have with what's going on here and what happened with Ethan last night is that the person causing the trouble, okay, narcissistic, okay, very, very, very narcissistic, to the point where you're like, I can't, wait, what? Okay, this is not how we do things. And, Ethan showed DMs. And he was right, the DMs were written by somebody who's very immature, like talking to a child. All right. And the fact of the matter is, the other channel in question, the one that started this, didn't say what the problem was. Okay. Didn't say any of it. Okay. So to basically assume Ethan spread this rumor that he didn't, I'm pretty sure the person that DM'd him all in like some immature craziness. Hey Dave, basically assumed Ethan, now there were stories about a female YouTuber, Mary Mayhem, having issues with this guy. Others, okay, notice that one by one the women who worked on Midnight's Edge have disappeared. I did, okay. Because no one wanted anybody as honest as I am on there, okay, they didn't like it. I was challenging the status quo, I was challenging the narrative. So, and then yesterday, of course, we find out that Chris Gore had a pretty severe stroke. Now, Let me ask you guys, did you hear what preceded it? All right, the person DMing Ethan got into a fight, a verbal knockdown drag-out fight with Chris Gore on Midnight's Edge, and Chris lost his shit. Which, okay, look, if you're not healthy, if you've got high blood pressure, you don't put yourself in that situation. Okay, not Chris's fault. Okay, Chris is a passionate guy. I respect him. He's a film reviewer. The guy he was arguing with is not. He's not coherent. He's not articulate. You know, the guy likes turtles. Okay, all right. And to me, it's very. It looks like he's gonna be okay, Dave. He did put out the word that he was in the hospital and is, I think he's home now, I'm not sure, but he's got to go through rehab now, probably learn how to use his hands and talk and, you know, like all the other stuff that someone with, I'm going to say TBI would have to go through, okay? Because strokes can be really severe. I mean, my uncle had a stroke mowing the lawn in 85 degrees weather. He was in his 80s and spent the last few months of his life a vegetable. I mean, that's how bad. Sorry, guys. I got my nose. But that's how it is. And so the fact that he could communicate is good. Problem is this. If you've got someone who's a continuous wrecking ball on relationships with contributors like Chris Gore, like Cameron Pasha, who befriends people that go on other people's channels threatening contributors, WW Pro threatened Cameron here on this. And I know Cross saw it, and I think Dave was there too. And if I'd have been smart, I'd have gotten a screenshot. But that was okay. Okay. Continuously is allowed to do things like this and gets away with it. And it's like, look, it's time for the honest conversation. Where is this community going? You know, what are we doing? We are not reporters, okay? We're not. You can call yourself a reporter till you're blue in the face. I look at you and say, you're not a reporter. You didn't go to Northwestern. You didn't work at the Wall Street Journal. You know, difference between Chris Gore and the investigative reporter at that Park Place is Chris Gore's actually did journalism, film journalism. He is a film journalist, okay? None of these other people have the chops. And if anything, if you start looking at the big YouTubers like those guys as editorialists, then that's great because really, do you have to be a reporter to put your opinion out there? No, but don't sit and pretend that your opinion, based on nothing but what you observed, is the God's honest truth. We've got, from Kennedy is still there, still where? Where is she? No explanation of why Victoria Alonso gets fired for working on another studio's movie, but Kathy gets to work on Twisters? And Disney's okay with that? Okay. And where's she been? The sale of the house. Okay. Again, let's play Where's Waldo with Kathy. Okay, because we don't know where she's been. Doubting people who work in the industry. All right. You know, there are reasons why I know stuff that went on with Rogue Squadron and why it was canceled at first. I know the whole reason. I can't say it, but I do know why. And it also proves that Kathleen Kennedy didn't get fired because she couldn't be fired for cause. Okay, now everybody kind of looks at that and goes, yeah, okay. Okay, so the lie being perpetuated that Jon Favreau was stabbed in the back and left, and that Dave Filoni's allying with Kathleen Kennedy. They're working on Mando and Grogu together, and Jon's helping Dave with developing Heir to the Empire. Wow. Where's the apology? And I guess Favreau's still there. Where are the big channels saying that? Okay, they're not going to. They're not going to because, like I said, they're like climate change scientists. Okay, you can have a hypothesis, go all the way down, answer all these questions, and if your hypothesis is not proved by the scientific method, you have to change your hypothesis. All right? You have to go where the evidence leads. These guys want you to believe that Favreau left, that Filoni is sitting on Aunt Kathy's lap licking lollipops, and that she's there like an embedded deer tick. She has not said a word since last June, almost a year now. It's been a year since Star Wars Celebration. It's been a year, since her being in the spotlight, okay? And I sit there and I go, where is she? Okay, what is she doing? Those guys don't ask those questions because it doesn't fit their clouded narrative. And their clouded narrative is not based on evidence. It is not based on what we know in reality. It is based on their opinions. And look, my dog has opinions that he should be allowed to eat steak every night and have half our food. That's the wrong opinion. That is not based on anything but his canine natural instincts to eat everything he can find. Okay, my horse assumes that she should eat all the peppermints. Well, I don't feel like showing up at 3 a.m. because she's got colic, so I can walk her around the barn until she takes a dump. Okay, I don't know. Basing your opinion on nothing more than your individual needs is kind of, that's what the left does. I mean, look, there were people in Ethan's chat last night that were observing that Geeks and Gamers has turned into NPCs. I mean, that's what they've become. We don't want that. We're not like that. Okay. We are the people who look at things, read the news, look at what people are doing. Elon Musk, Nelson Peltz, Bob Iger, Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, note the absence of Kennedy anywhere. Notice that as time goes on in the Kathy shaped hole in the universe gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Where is she? We're the ones that observe and say, look at what Cameron's been told by Sparrow, that there's something to this and it's worthy of belief. Okay. We take into account stories from Forbes that say, in the almost first sentence, Disney has pulled away from the sequel trilogy. They're going back to the Imperial period. They're bringing back, clones and other characters from Clone Wars. Okay. They've reinvigorated Anakin Skywalker. Everywhere you see Star Wars, there's Hayden Christensen. Where's Rey? Does she have a movie? Well, you're not going to hear it from Gary, Geeks and Gamers, Ryan Cannell, or anybody else. You hear it from me. Stephen Knight, the guy who's supposed to be writing the Rey script, is working on his Peaky Blinders film. Okay, so there's that. Daisy has not talked about any Rey movie. The only people that are talking about it are the Black Pills, who need it, and to keep going. And, the show, Star Wars Explained, Jason Ward, who, it wasn't that long ago in January, where he sadly said the Rey movie was never happening. You think so? Yeah, you can't, because they're not. The merchandise sales. The article was saying that, Disney was, talking about merchandise sales. All right. None of the people who bought, companies that bought licenses, Lego, they're not doing sequel trilogy, anything. Hasbro, all right. Now they do have a Hasbro Pulse collection of Acolyte figures, which I don't think are gonna do well. I think that's a really stupid thing for them to do. I probably would have said no, thank you. Especially looking at how poorly the Acolyte's doing, on its TV show trailer. I mean, 78% dislikes. The comments are hilarious, and it's just not doing very well. People are not going there because they like it. They're going there to mock it. Okay, so if people watch it, I won't be one of them. It'll be mostly for hate watches, hate clicks. That's it. So they have something to laugh at. That's all. So there's that. But the rest of the merchandise is, Hot Toys has coming out in, hi Mike, in 2025, a beautiful Han Solo Return of the Jedi figure. It is probably the best sculpt I've ever seen of him. And I'm like, I want it. I don't know how I'd pay for it right now. But I want it. Okay, I do. It's absolutely magnificent. All of their stuff is magnificent. They haven't done any sequel trilogy stuff. Any. For years. Okay, Hasbro, none. Lego, like I said, none. Nobody is. Okay, so where's Disney making the money? OG, PT, Clone Wars, Ahsoka. Look, I'll show you something. This is the proof of the pudding, okay? This is the Hallmark Dream Book, which I love. And of all the new ornaments, and you guys know that I collect them. This is the new stuff. We've got stocking holders. They're $99 a piece. Mando, Grogu, Cad Bane, which I'm getting for sure. Thrawn. I'm not getting Sabine because I hate her. But this is just the start. And of course the stockings. From the Trench Run. Then we go to this. Celebrating 25 years of the Phantom Menace. Padme, Maul, Qui-Gon. We've got this from Obi-Wan. The droids. This. And of course, this is the one I can't wait for. The garbage masher. No sequel trilogy. None. And it's There it is. That's not anecdotal evidence, none. So those licenses that were sold sold by Disney to Hallmark are not for anything but that stuff. Ahsoka, Kenobi, original trilogy, prequels. There you go. Okay, so and of course DVDs and Blu-rays, 4K and everything. There's probably selling, Mandalorian seasons 1 and 2, Kenobi, in the films. And I'm not talking about 7, 8, 9. I'm talking about 1 through 6. All right, there you go. What I find interesting is that the Forbes article that I'm pretty sure Gary never talked about. I don't know, maybe he did, but probably didn't get anything from it. I'm sure Jeremy tried to, but God, bless his heart on that. Buried in the 800 somewhat pages of the SEC filings, you look and find that Disney, with the movies alone, did not break even. All right, they didn't break even. And I remember, I think Dave and Cross could testify to this, telling you guys, after doing the math I did, I don't think they net profited more than 1.2 or between $1 and $2 billion. And I was pretty much right on the money. All right. And of course, that's just the movies. Now think about it. What the story is not saying is how much did Disney invest in the parks and in other things. I know a story was told to me by our friend Craig from his contacts at Lucasfilm that they got almost all done with California Park, Galaxy's Edge, and had to tear most of it down and rebuild it. And they'd already invested $1 billion. They had to invest another $1 billion. $2 billion, right? They built that hotel for $1 billion. It's closed. $3 billion. Okay, we'll say that the Galaxy's Edge in Florida cost $1 billion. That's $4 billion. Now, what do you add to the 1 point whatever? You're not breaking even, because what you've got is an investment, buying the company, producing the movies, etc., everything else. You probably invested close to $10 billion and probably only earned maybe $3 billion. So even then, you haven't broken even. Okay, so that's the problem. And that's the thing that I see happening right now, okay, with Star Wars, is that they need to get into a place where they're making money. And they're not going to make money on the sequel trilogy. They know that. They haven't. So this begs the question, and you want to look at Gary and the rest of these lunatics, why would they not change and remove the sequel trilogy, or at least make a multiverse where it's not the main timeline anymore, if they're not making money at it? And they will do the Benny Arthur Johnson talking head knee-jerk reaction. They don't care if they don't make money because BlackRock. Yeah, they do care. BlackRock cares. And the fact that Vanguard actually has more money invested in Disney than BlackRock, and Tim Buckley, the CEO of Vanguard, said they're going to start divesting of DEI because it doesn't pay. All right, so you can sit there and say they don't care if they make money, but that's stupid. Okay, eventually you're going to have to say we have to start paying dividends on our stocks. And Disney stock, I looked this afternoon and it was down to 111, 112 maybe. And before the proxy vote, it was up to 123. Okay, so, it's not like the investors on the street have any faith in Bob Iger. All right. So I have to watch this. But that's the reason all right, back in 2019, and I talked about this in the upload today, when I was sitting there really upset, trying to think of a way to that's bad, Mike. Thank you. Try to think of a way for the issue of Lucasfilm's problems to be resolved. See, here's the problem that we all have. That's bad. All right, here's the problem we all have. We have people out there, Gary, Midnight's Edge, and Tom, because he is Midnight's Edge, Geeks and Gamers, etc., who don't have any solutions. Go into politics, and the conservative side doesn't have any solutions. They just bitch and bitch and bitch and bitch and bitch and bitch and bitch. And, when you see talking heads like Benny Arthur Johnson doing a stream with Neurotic and Critical Drinker, you're like, because they're not saying anything that is worthy to listen to, because there's nothing they're talking about that's a solution. Okay, and I'll say this. When I was a kid, we had a guy named Ronald Reagan who basically not only walked in as the happy conservative warrior, he had solutions, okay? He knew the way to get rid of the Soviet Union was to force them to spend money they didn't have and tip it over the edge. Now it's happening to us. And, as Tucker Carlson likes to say, we're led by people who hate us, okay, for, I don't know, whatever. And I think he's right. Ronald Reagan tried to solve problems. We now have conservative leaders, and I'm not putting Donald Trump into that, Vivek Ramaswamy or anybody, who don't talk about what we can do to fix the issues. All they talk about is this, and this. It all sucks, and it's all burning down. What kind of a fucking message is that? So then you get it in the culture wars. Star Wars is dead. Ugh. That's just clickbait nonsense. That's bullshit. When you look at, Ahsoka, yes, there were problems with it. I couldn't stand Sabine. Didn't understand why Ahsoka would try to train her when she's really not trainable. My thing is, she's a throwaway character. Kill her off. Get rid of her, because we don't like her. Fans don't like her, and she's smug. Smug women are annoying, and they don't. Sabine acted like a guy, and like, Helena Shaw and Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, and that's disgusting to me. I don't want to see that. I don't think you guys want to see that, okay? So, you've got that stuff going on. All right. So, anyway, but there is good stuff. All right. Observable stuff. Ahsoka gets beaten by Balin Skull, drops into the ocean, and wakes up in the world between worlds. And Anakin Skywalker's there. Ain't he dead? Isn't he just a Force ghost? Mightn't Ryan Cannell and the rest of these people maybe make that observation? Maybe Doomcock could say, I remember telling everybody Jon Favreau wanted to use the world between worlds to upset the timeline and to move the sequel trilogy to like over there someplace and off the main timeline. Yet, we don't get any of that. Okay, it was obvious to me watching that Anakin Skywalker was not a Jedi nor a Sith. He was the chosen one. The chosen one to do what? Bring balance to the Force. He got rid of Palpatine. Palpatine, he tries to use, to me, maybe he went back in time and made sure Palpatine was dead already. We don't know. Okay, or maybe he will. Or maybe he'll warn Luke. Or something like that. But the fact that he's in the world between worlds, that he goes between Anakin and Darth Vader, the dark side and the light side, tells me that he is the chosen one to take over for the father, son, and daughter, as the father told him he must. Okay. And it's not that difficult. But when you've got people who make money on nothing but destruction and negativity without really, I don't even think they care. They talk about it like they don't care, but they talk about it. So they do care, all right? And it's always the wrong message to subscribers. It is always the wrong message. Instead of saying, if you guys haven't seen the Mortis arc in Clone Wars, it's season 3, watch all 3 of them, because that has direct ties to what happened in Ahsoka. Okay, so does the arc of the world between worlds in Wolves in a Door and World Between Worlds and Rebels. Okay, you've got the father, son, and daughter in a mosaic. Interestingly enough, the son's eyes light up. I'm going to say this: the reason why the father was killed, he killed himself in the 3rd episode of the Mortis arc in Clone Wars. He used the dagger of Mortis. All right, he used the dagger of Mortis, which also killed the daughter. So all you have is the dark side with nothing to balance it. Anakin sticks his lightsaber in the sun. I think the only way you could figure out, or you could fix what is broken is by bringing at least the son. The son didn't die because he wasn't killed with the dagger of Mortis. There. Anyway, I'm sorry, Michael. There, I fixed it. The thing about it is, that's stuff you're not going to hear from them because they don't care. It's not about doing the right thing. And like I said, Gary wasn't going to apologize to Megan, apologize to Mark. He was going to assume and pretend like somehow he and Jeremy shamed Mark Hamill into seeing his granddaughter. And it's like, no, you didn't. He doesn't know who you are. Okay. And that's the bottom line. Okay. That, to me alone, is the height of, you gotta be shitting me. You guys actually are telling people this. That somehow you shamed an actor who, look, I love Mark, but he is like every boomer I've ever come across, every old hippie or wannabe hippie. The younger boomers, like Mark's age, were the wannabes. All right, Harrison Ford was a dyed-in-the-wool hippie. Okay, he was. The younger boomers like Mark were wannabes, and they did a poor job of it. And they're crazy. I mean, they're it's like, you guys are nuts. Okay. But anyway, I gotta go in a little bit. I gotta send a text to my husband. But I want to talk about this because it's just, I love Mark, but it's like, don't get into a political debate with him because he goes from sane to insane and like that. Okay. But they're all like that. People in my family are like that. They cannot help themselves. And it's like, the fact of the matter is, if Americans can't have conversations about the fact, I mean, look, if you're a Democrat and think that Biden's doing well, you're a fucking idiot. You're a walking disaster area. And that's just, people who are voting for RFK Jr. think that, and it's like, I mean, but that's the way they are. And it's insanity. It's a forgivable insanity. My mom hated Ronald Reagan for absolutely no reason at all. And every time I think about it, it's like, the fuck did he do to you? I mean, and it's just the hatred people get about people out there in the public, like Donald Trump, Ronald Reagan, Rand Paul, is not earned by the object of hatred. And it sure as fuck isn't deserved. Okay? I mean, observable issues with Joe Biden. He can't put a coherent statement together. But Donald Trump, really? You look at the merits of the case right now going on in New York City. You've got a compromised judge. You've got a case that has absolutely no basis. And it's just like Trump says, it's a witch hunt. Why? They're afraid of him. All right. Now you've got Marjorie Taylor Greene, someone who I agree with, but I honest to God, I fucking can't stand her. Attacking Mike Johnson because we've got on the House side a 1-vote majority, and there's nothing he can do about it. All right. And he's taking the blame over stuff he can't do anything about, the border. The border alone, what's he supposed to do? Call up the militia? declare war on Mexico, go to combined, you know, meeting of the Senate and the House and ask for a vote of war against what? Guatemala, Venezuela? The fuck? The Speaker of the House does not have that power. All right, you too, Dave. But if we get him a Senate majority with Rand Paul as majority leader, if we get Donald Trump in the White House, we can actually get the things done that these mealy-mouthed idiots want. The problem on the right is that we're immature about things. We don't play the long game, and we never have. And we're too negative. That's the problem. Gary's problem. And, Gary taking, Gary and Jeremy taking victory laps over the Mark Hamill, connecting with his granddaughter. How are you involved with that? What a bunch of arrogant fucks. Okay, to think that. That's another problem. Other problem is, people within the community, from a particular channel, Midnight's Edge, feeling like the world revolves around them, that they can go into anybody's DMs and start screaming at them, and that stuff that they did or didn't do may or may not get out in public because the people that were part of this, that didn't want to be, are going to tell people. Okay? Now, again, I don't know what the melting snowman thing was, but why Tom would assume that EVS was the ones, sending his knitting club to harass him. A bunch of shit. And it's typical, all right? Chase off Cameron, get into a huge fight with Chris Gore, who has a stroke then. Make sure that all the girls that ever were part of Midnight's Edge leave. Something's got to change. I mean, really. But anyway, I got to go because I got to text my husband. And until next time.